Hello, I thought I would do a, I'm calling it interview makeup. See, I don't go for interviews. I don't know why it's obvious. I don't go for interviews, but you don't have to wear it for interviews. By interview makeup, I mean if you have to go to a meeting, if you have to go somewhere where you just want to look kind of put together and smart, minimal looking makeup. Not a natural makeup, looks like you've got makeup on, but minimal looking makeup. And if you can hear stuff, it's because I've got my assistant, my new assistant working with me today. No, too busy looking at his new trousers. Yeah, and he's a bit, I mean, growly, I guess is the best way to describe it. Also, we've got this going on with the fringe. My fish just died, and my fish was called Nancy. She's a Siamese fighting fish. She was called Nancy after Nancy Wilson from Heart, and I feel like my hair is in mourning and has gone for a very kind of 70s rock fluffy finish. I'm going to use the Gwen Stefani Urban Decay palette that came out in 2015, but because I know that's really annoying for those of you who don't have it, it's really good for those of you who do have it, because I know quite a few people struggle with it. But if you don't have it, I'm going to give you some dupes along the way, which I don't usually do, but I am going to do. So, as with all Urban Decay palettes, I am going to use, should I zoom in a bit while this dries? I'm using a primer. This is the NYX HD. I think it's quite good to have, like you have clothes in your wardrobe that you would wear for an interview or wear for a meeting. I do the same with makeup. I have makeup wardrobes. So this is what I do when I need to be smart. This is what I wore when I went and looked around my son's school for the first time. So I'm going to use Skimp and Stark. These two. This has got a tiny, tiny, tiny flattering shimmer to it. The dupes that I've found are Dazzle Light, which is this from MAC, and Brûlée from MAC. If you've got the Naked 2 Basics palette, both colours seem to be in there. I'm not sure if they're exactly the same. But if you've got the original Naked palette, it's going to be Virgin and Sin. Now Sin's a bit more shimmery, so you want mostly Virgin and a tiny bit of Sin. Basically, you know, I hate this idea that you have to have that palette. You don't have to have a particular palette. You know what I mean? Find something that you like. If I can think of any high street palettes that have got similar colours in, I will put them in a list below. I'm sure that Sleep Makeup will do one. So I just push that all over the movable part of the lid. Next I'm going to use Anaheim. And the dupes for Anaheim are Frisk from the Naked 2 Basics palette, Naked from the Naked palette. If I was using my Louise Young palette, I'd be using this one, which is Maui. And if you are wanting something from MAC, you'd be using Wedge. And I am going to run that through the socket slightly, very faintly, just to give a bit of definition. Not to do a fuck off cut crease. If you want an Instagram drag makeup look, you are on the wrong channel. You are very welcome to be here. Hello. But you're going to find my work unsatisfactory. So then in the corners, I am going to use a tiny bit of Baby, which is a shimmer, a tiny bit of Anaheim, and a tiny bit of Punk. So the dupes for Anaheim we've talked about. The dupes for Baby would probably be something like, what are you? Yeah, Patina from MAC. If you're using this palette, you'd use a mixture of these three. That would be your Punk, probably Toasted, in the original Naked palette. And I am going to use such a tiny amount of this. I'm literally going to be dipping, and then you pat it into that corner, do you see what I mean? Such a small amount. Because you just want to create a bit of definition, a bit of warmth, without completely changing the kind of neutral feel of the eye. And then I go back in with the brush I used for the crease. Just everything has to be very blended. If you find that you've got kind of a real definition between your light and your dark shadows, go back to the brush that you applied your lighter shadow with and then blend through. I'm going to use the bold eyeliner from H&M for a flick. It doesn't have, I mean, it does a really nice flick, but I would always set it. And it's really fat. And what I'm doing is I'm using it. I know everyone says don't use it on the point. I'm basically using it on the point because I'm running it along the lash line. I'm not doing a big dramatic eyeliner, I'm just defining the lashes with it. Then I'm going to use Blackout because I love a black. Obviously you can use a MAC, everything has it. If you were using this palette you'd use Creep, which is slightly shimmery, so be careful. If you're using Louise Young's palette then you are laughing because it has got the best black eyeshadow in it ever. I'm going to mostly use this, which is Blackout. I sometimes use a little bit of Serious, just to soften it up at the edges. If you were wanting to do that, I haven't got an actual MAC dupe here. I mean something like Concrete. If you're using this I'd use Hustle. I might not even use it, we'll just see how it goes. But that would just help graduate up into the corner. So what I do is I go along and then I just, because I'm using an angle brush, I turn it so it's that way and then I just pull it up. Now I wear black eyeliner, so that's what I'm used to seeing. If you don't want to wear black, you can wear brown or blue or whatever you feel comfortable wearing. This is my rounder eye, so this always works really well. This is my good eye. This one takes a little bit more encouragement. So then of course I'm going to do my sneaky trick with my Hourglass powder, which I always run up here as my blending up colour because it has a nice flattering finish. Right, bit of mascara. I'm using the Maybelline Great Lash Big. First assistant has had lunch and gone to bed. And now we've got Mrs. Mouse. You can tell I don't do hair, right? Right, I'm using Origin's Ginseng Tinted Moisturizer. The reason I use this, loads, I love it. It has a really nice finish. It feels really moisturising, and it has an SPF of 40, so I don't have to worry about that when I'm out and about. And I just think a glowy but really barely there finish is the way to go, if you can. Anyone who wants to helpfully tell me that I should be putting my stuff on more gently, don't really, pretty confident in my application of makeup products, but thanks for your concern. Then I'm going to conceal. So I think I'm pretty blemish free at the moment, but as always I do have under eye. I always have redness around my nose. Okay, so I use Lasting Perfection concealer from collection, just because I do have fine lines and I find this the nicest consistency for my face for getting the coverage I need, whilst also not, I mean, everything's going to sit in your lines if you've got them. It's part of the privilege of getting older, frankly. With all the shenanigans in Florida, getting older is a fucking privilege. So I'm just going to deal with that. Use Daniel Sandler Rose Glow. Sandler. Sorry Daniel, I don't know. Sandler. Again, because it's very natural finish and blends beautifully with what I've already got on. I'm going to put a tiny bit of black liner on the waterline, top and bottom. I'm going to run, do you remember we used the darker colours in the corner? I'm going to run what's left of the brush along the outer corner underneath. A Louise Young Mini Socket Brush is, if you like wearing colour under your eyes, it's the best brush for it. But I've left it upstairs because I'm an idiot. Then I'm going to use my Clinique Bottom Lash Mascara. I use a different mascara because my eyes water if it's bright or whatever, and I do not want to be worrying about that. Then I'm going to set with my Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder just under the eye. Now, I've got a video on how to use the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder because I get it asked a lot, and this is a prime example of why I like to use it. Where I've got concealer here and here and here and on my chin, I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but it's going to have a very different finish to the rest of me, and that in person you'll notice that. You know, you can do anything you like on YouTube because you've got lights and stuff, but in person you don't want to look like an oddbod. So I just find that this gives everything the same finish. And then on the lip I'm going to use the Lily 558 Lip Balm Rouge from Dior, because as the name suggests, it's like a lip balm, so you don't have to worry about it coming off because it just kind of fades off like a tinted lip balm would, but it actually has quite good longevity. You can reapply it without needing a mirror, and it's just kind of natural. If you don't like wearing a lipstick, wear a lip balm because it is just going to look like you've thought about it. If you want to, I don't often because I'm lazy, you can do your brows. This is the Hourglass Brow Arch, which is my fave for a really lazy person. I'm slightly #blessed in the brow department because they're alright. If I was going to a meeting where I was going to kick someone's arse, I would put a red lip with this. But I'm hoping that in an interview I wouldn't have to kick any arse, so I would do this. Thank you so much for watching. I forgot to say, if I was going for a meeting, what I might do actually is I would probably use this, which is the Urban Decay All-Nighter Setting Spray, because it really helps your makeup stay on, and it just gives kind of freshness, and it means that if you're like me and you get screwed over by public transport frequently, I would just know that despite looking like I'd run a marathon from the neck down, this would be okay. God, I'm an idiot. Do you know what I thought? I would put on a red lip. Revlon Fire and Ice. One of the reasons I love it is you can get it anywhere that sells Revlon, and it suits everyone. So that's it. If you wanted to have a bit more of a makeup-y look, there you have it.